Well, at one point in Seder services today, it will often take place where you take an herb, we'll use parsley, and you'll dip it in something really bitter, often something like horseradish sauce. And when you put that in your mouth to represent the bitterness of bondage, if you get horseradish sauce that is really hot, it can be beyond painful. When you put that in your mouth, it can create pain. You will find that you feel your sinuses, cavities inside of your head that you didn't know existed before. It is that powerful. It brings tears to some people's eyes if they're using the really hot horseradish. Then an amazing thing happens when the next sequence is you take a piece of unleavened bread and you put it in your mouth and you suck on it. And it's almost this instantaneous reaction where the bread absorbs all of that bitterness from the bitter herbs out of your mouth, and the bread takes it. It absorbs it. And the pain is gone almost instantaneously. And then the next sequence is you take a drink of grape juice, or many Jewish families would take a drink of wine and wash it down. Now, did you notice what just happened in the sequence? There's an interesting connection that Christians, looking at a Passover reenactment in this sequence, could superimpose over this Jewish ordinance. And it could be tied into our sacrament of you and I coming into a sacrament meeting, and we bring with us all of the bitterness of life. We bring the tears and the sorrows and the pains and the anguish and the hurt and the offenses that we have given and that we have received. We bring it all, and it doesn't feel good. It hurts. And we sit there, and then the very first thing offered to us is a piece of bread. And we take that bread into our mouth, and the symbolic capacity of that bread is to absorb the bitterness of our life that we've brought. But then the Lord doesn't leave it there. He gives us a cup. And it's not a bitter cup like the cup that the Savior had to partake of symbolically. His infinitely bitter cup was consumed so that we could in return get a sweet cup representing His blood that was shed to redeem us, to save us, to set us free, so that we could worship our God with our agency and not be held captive forever to sin or to death. So as we look at these symbols and the connections, we acknowledge with respect the fact that our Jewish brothers and sisters in the world have this rich, long, 3,500-year tradition, and we're borrowing from that tradition as we now look moving forward to the Savior as the symbolic fulfillment of all of this Passover event back in Exodus chapter 12, as the blood of the Lamb being shed to take away the bitterness of our life and to give us hope moving forward.
And here's what we have in Exodus 12:14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
What is the wording in the sacrament prayers? They shall always remember Him. A memorial, remembering. It's, don't ever get so caught up in what you're doing now that you forget why you're able to do what you're able to do and who you're trying to become. And so then verse 17 gives them a repeat of that command. And ye shall observe the feast of the unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever.